Hi everyone, I am Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and today I have this very sweet, it's a little note card to show you, and it's 100% stamping, and we'll do a little coloring with it. And so it's just one of those note cards and envelopes. And so in the you can get the they're just called basic white note cards and envelopes, and inside the pack you get 20 envelopes. And you get, oops, there's two here, 20 note cards. And so it's a really good value. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember how much it costs. It used to be $7, but I know it's more than $7 now, but it's not a whole lot more. I'll get that back in later. And so it's a really good value because you get 20 cards in envelopes for, it's just easy when you want to kind of come up with a little card. The card also will go in the mail with a regular postage stamp, so it's not too small, and so that's kind of nice. So I just thought this is kind of a sweet summertime now, and it's a nice little sweet summertime card that I will send out for, I'm not really sure why, which is why it has no stamp on the inside. So we are going to, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Actually, I'll show you this first. So the images, and you can find any images to kind of duplicate this, but you want them kind of on the smaller size, and then of similar size. So I actually have stamps from 3 different sets, and I wanted to show you where I got them all. So the cute bee and the flower are from the Choose Happy set, and I do find that I use this. I love the little images in here, and so this is found in the catalog, because it's going to be a mix and match of some of the things here. And then the little orange flower, which is actually the new Timid Tiger, which is a great orange, I love it, is just this little flower here. I'm sure you have a solid flower in lots of other sets, but I just wanted to show you. It came from the Be My Valentine. And then the strawberry came from the Cheers and Sips. So it's right here. This is a fun, actually another fun summer set. Not that it has to be only for summer, but I've been using these 2 fruits, the strawberries and then the citrus, which could be a orange, a grapefruit, a lemon or lime. I've been using these 2 a lot in non-drink cards, so to speak, and this is just one of them. So just wanted to show you where I got the images from. So we're not going to stamp directly on the card because when we color, we're going to use blends markers. And you'll see that the color, the blends markers bleeds through to the back. You can kind of see the back side of the paper. And so we are going to instead stamp on just a smaller layer of white. And so this layer, just so I give you the right dimension, is 3 by 4.5. You could certainly make it a little bit bigger. I have probably like a, I'll tell you exactly what I have. Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch border on all sides, but you can certainly make that smaller, but I kind of liked that look. Okay, after all that talk, let's start stamping. So I'm going to use my Blends ink, not Blends ink, my Memento black ink, which is for blends, and I actually write blends on my case so that I know that this is what I use. We have another black ink called Stays On, and we use that for different reasons, but if you're going to use the blends markers, you want to use Memento black, and it just helps with, so there's no bleeding into the stamped lines. All right, here we go. So I have my stamps here. And I am going to use, I said that for that little flower, I'm going to use the Timid Tiger. So I'm going to put that over here as well. It is really, it's an orange that I'm really enjoying. It doesn't have a whole lot of impact, I mean, here, but if you do some other larger projects, and especially the paper, it's beautiful. Okay, so we're just going to, I mean, you can kind of randomly stamp. I kind of like the layout, so I'm going to leave that here of kind of what I did. And then I'm going to show you, I popped up 3 of these guys here. So you, I think, trying to remember how I even started. You can kind of start in any corner. I think I'll just start right here. And I'm just going to stamp a flower. Of course, I smudged that. Well, we're just gonna work with that smudge. I'm trying to think how I even got that smudged. All right, so I'm going to actually kind of piecemeal it out. So just kind of work my way up rather than like a stamp a flower, stamp a flower, stamp a flower. You can do that, but I just want to make sure everything kind of fits in there. And so my bee, that's where it came from, the edge of my, I'm actually going to stamp that right on the smudge because we're going to cover that up. We're going to cut that out. So actually I'll stamp another bee going in that direction. I'm just careful not to touch with my inky finger. And then I'm going to stamp a strawberry right there. And again, I kind of played with this layout a little bit. So you can certainly change yours up. But what I've discovered while on camera, I'm going to do what I planned. Sometimes I get into trouble, especially when I'm picking colors. I love to pick colors, and I tend to change my mind and play around with it, and then I forget that here you are waiting for me to just make it. All right. Just realized I forgot to bring something upstairs. But don't worry, I'll stop the camera and get it. But you won't even know. All right, so strawberry there. And one more right here. So they all kind of fit in there. So these three are popped up. So you want to stamp 3 more. So I'll scrap a piece of paper. Okay, so that's not as good as I want it. So I'm going to stamp it again. I was trying not to touch the paper because of my ink. And that's a little smudgy. So this one I am being particular with. Looking for extra white scrap because it's going to go on top of that. So that one's a little bit, you know, it's kind of like Goldilocks. A little bit too big, a little bit too small. That one's good enough. That one's just right. We want a strawberry. And we want a orange flower. Okay, I'm going to close up my ink. So what I need to do, but I'll do this off camera. See how the ink sometimes, you know, will slide off onto the sides, and then you get it on, or the sides of the ink get on the sides of the pad. So every once in a while you want to clean that up, because when you take it off, that's when you get the inky fingers. Maybe I'll do that in a separate video. Okay, so now we just have to color, and this is kind of the fun part. I have light real red. Your strawberry, you could make that certainly like a red strawberry, or a like a melon mambo, or the strawberry slush strawberry. A couple. And actually, I don't know why I don't usually use this tip because I got distracted talking. So you can use that tip. That's like a fine point tip. I actually like to use the brush tip. Goes on a little bit more like a paintbrush. And I just kind of scoop my pad around. So they both work. They both come out. And then this one, because this is the one I'm going to pop up, I'm only going to do the edges, because why color the whole thing in when you're not going to see it? But in case, you know, someone looks, you will see a little bit of red on the inside, so I just did the edges. And then the top of the strawberry, the greenery, again, you can use all different colors of greens. I chose light shaded spruce, and this one I will use that little fine tip. And I realize I have to color in my strawberry that I stamped on my, because this is the one we're going to cut out. And on the top. And then, there you go, so we have the flower. You can pick any color you want for your flower. I chose, what did I choose? Light Flirty Flamingo. And that color's quick with the brush tip. So you may be wondering, or if you say, I've seen this set in the catalog and it doesn't have any dies to cut it out, and it doesn't. So we are going to use scissors, kind of the old-fashioned way of cutting. But each of these cuts out pretty easily. I'll show you. All right, so that is that. And then the middle of the, oh, look at that, is not a good tip. It has been well loved and used, but it's still viable because I have this tip. So I like to use my markers as long as possible, but that does happen. These are markers that will eventually run out of ink, and so then you do have to replace them. They're not refillable. That was Light Daffodil Delight, if you're wondering on the color. And I'm going to do that over here too. And actually, while I have this here, I'm going to stamp the B on my envelope. And give that a color into. I'll let that dry for a second. And so what I did, I can leave my, I know it looks funny with that, but you know, the wings are see-through or clear, but so I could leave them that way, but I think I'm just going to give them a little bit of color because I think it just really elevates the coloring and the whole overall look. So to do that, I'm just using Light Pool Party, and I am going to use that little fine tip, and I'm just going to almost like go on top of the lines or just go under the lines just to outline it. And it really does like just make it pop, almost like they're fluttering. That one I'm cutting, so we're not even going to do it. Oh, and I forgot about the I can't even think of the words today. I forgot about the greens on the flower. And so that is the reason why, because I'm thinking I forgot something and I have to go get it to show you. This is like Granny Apple Green. Again, there's so many different greens you can choose from. But I did like the palette. I'll put the markers together. Oh, I forgot to do that. I like the palette of this. Sometimes you want the tones to kind of be the similar. So I'll put them all together. So these certainly are all like subtles and a couple little brights. So I think those all kind of work together nicely. I'm going to go get what I forgot, and I will be right back. But you won't even, oh, hold on before I forget. You won't even notice that I'm gone. Okay, see, you didn't even notice I was gone. What I wanted to get was a black marker. And to be honest, I don't even know where this marker came from. I think my kids came home with it one day from school and I used it and I loved it. So It is a Papermate Liquid Flare. I don't even know if they make them anymore, but it's a very fine tip pen. You kind of see it's a fine tip pen. And the reason why I like it is this stamping is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. But when I was doing the other ones, some of my B was not really, some parts were not as dark. So this part's not exactly as dark. Normally I would say that's fine. But I just want to show you that you can take, practice to make sure that your pen is good. But see, I could color right on top carefully and make a little darker. So like if sometimes, if you miss a line that you need to, if I needed to make that a little dark, actually I'm not going to make that darker because I'm going to put blends on top of it and I don't know if it will bleed or not. But I just wanted to show you, like, you're doing all this stamping, like, oh, it's not as dark. Just take a black pen and just color it right on top of it. But the fine point ones work really well. All right, so what did I say? Oh, strawberry. I'm like, what did I miss? You probably could have made 5 cards by the time, it's taken me to show you how to make one, because they're quick, they're easy, they're fun. Okay, so now we just have to cut these out. So I like to trim that to a smaller piece so it's a little easier to use. And I'm just going to, it's okay, I have to color these wings. I'm just going to leave a white border around everything. Makes it a little easier. And for the most part, I'm keeping my scissors kind of in the same spot. And you can see me rotating my paper around. I find that's much easier for cutting. So I'm keeping that paper kind of deep in my scissors here. And just rotating. Every once in a while, I'll open up the scissors again. Just rotate paper. Now, this is probably the trickiest part around this little curly Q here, which is really not tricky, but you get a little end here. So then I'll cut that off and then I'll go back and snip. And if you wanted to round them, be really picky, you can round them. So there's the B, and now sometimes I'll just cut that off, and then the strawberry goes pretty quick. Again, I'm just kind of do it by moving the paper. It's kind of rounded. I'll say rounded edges. You can make it straight, but it takes a little bit longer. But for the most part, it's just kind of rounded. There's the strawberry and then the flower. These are all rounded. Try to keep the width of that white border I'm creating close to being the same. Sometimes it's not, but that's my goal. There we go. So that didn't take too long. Let me do that part before I forget. All right, so now we are going to put it all together. So I have my card base. So remember I said way at the beginning, we didn't stamp directly on here. Now you could, if you were using like watercolored pencils to color and you were using the StazOn black to do with watercolored pencils, you could stamp directly on the card because it would not bleed through, but the blends markers do bleed through. So that's why we did it on a separate piece there. No, we'll use, I'm just trying to decide if I want to use regular size dimensionals or mini, but we'll use regular. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is glue on my little layer here onto my card base. Ooh, glue just went flying. I'm going to pick that up and just put that back in the middle of the card. That's going to go straight down like that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you these together. Oh, hold on, that moved. Somehow it got slanted. Okay, probably that's better. Okay, I had that quick second to fix it. You can kind of see that you can see the edges a little bit better on here versus this is a little bit flatter. And so what I did is I do this every time. I just trim my fingernails. I like to do it when it's glued on the card. I just take the edge and just lift up with my fingernail just around the edges. Now you could try to do it with like scissors or a bone folder, but I just find my finger works better, or fingernail. So it's just one little extra little step that brings that up. Not necessary, but it's a look I like. So now we're just going to add on our little pop-ups. So here we go. So the flower, the dimensional fits right on the flower, so that's easy. Then you just want to make sure that you kind of have the right, you know, I don't want to put the flower on upside down or anything. So however the direction is, that goes right on top. The butterfly, not the butterfly, there's no butterfly. The strawberry, the dimensional fits right on top. So that goes like that. So the bee, the dimensional might be a little bit big. So all I'm going to do is take it and cut it in half and put it there. And then I'm going to take that and just cut a smaller piece and put that right on here. And then this tiny piece I'm going to put back on here, and I'll use that for something else. So sometimes you have to trim those dimensionals. I could have used a mini dimensional, but I just wanted to show you that you can trim yours down. There we go. And this will go right on. Oh, so little. All right. We're going to use that little piece that I was reserving for later right now. It wasn't sticking. Okay. Put that right on top like that. And it just elevates it. And if you wanted to do one more step, now my Wink of Stella is, I need to get a new one because it's almost empty. But this is a brush, and you can kind of see there's a little sparkle in there. And you can just go right on top of the wings, and you might not even be able to see this on camera, but it kind of just paints on a little layer of sheer sparkle. Again, mine needs to be replaced. It's almost empty, so it's hard to see, but it has just a little glimmer in there. And if you wanted to do it on your envelope, you do it there too. Or some people put it on everything, however you like. So that is the simple, although I feel like it took way longer than it should have, little card for you to make. I just think it's a nice little note card. So I hope you like it too. And depending on when you watch this, so I'm filming this beginning of August of 2025. There's a sale going on this month, August 2025, of the In Colors. So 15% off In Color products. So this Timid Tiger stamp pad would be on sale. If this was Strawberry Slush, the Strawberry Slush would be on sale. But it lends itself to cardstock and inks and reinkers and designer series paper, and even some kits that have the In Colors in them. They're all 15% off. So just wanted to tell you about that too. All right, thank you very much for watching. If you do not receive my emails, I send out every Tuesday. Please sign up. You can just go to my website at mailsomethingpretty.com and sign up right there. Thanks, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.